Hi, I'm Don Mitchell. Welcome back to Business Basics. We continue to work on ways to reduce investments for you and your stakeholders, those who have an impact on you or impacted by your organization. This day we'll be talking about Lesson 51, which has the surprising title for some of Develop Deeper and Stronger Relationships with Stakeholders. I'll explain in a minute why that's important for reducing investment intensity. But first, I'd like to quote from Psalm 56, verse 11 in the New King James Version to set the stage for our discussion. In God I have put my trust. Will not be afraid. What can man do to me? Trust plays an important role in how much investing an organization must do. Let me give you an example based on the experiences I had while hiring a contractor to put a new roof on our family's home. When I talked to people who had their roofs replaced, they told me a number of things quite often. First, you have to be concerned that the person actually shows up to do the work after you make a down payment, rather than fleeing the state with your money. Many roofers don't have insurance. If one of their employees is hurt while working on your roof, the employee could sue you, the homeowner, as well as the roofing company. 3 years, homeowner's insurance doesn't cover roofers, and you cannot buy a policy that will pay for workers' accidents unless you personally go into the roofing business. 4, roofs have to be replaced when it's neither too hot nor too cold. The roof won't cure properly and will leak. 5, all roofers in our state are required by law to fix faulty roofs for a year at no additional cost, if you can find them and convince them to do the work properly. But if roofers don't know what they're doing to begin with, such a requirement doesn't help. 6, all roofing material manufacturers guarantee their products for a few years, less any accumulated wear and tear, but the manufacturers won't pay for the labor to replace any faulty material. Since labor represents more than 60% of the roof's total cost, such guarantees for materials aren't worth as much as you might think. 7, since you only need a roofer once every 20 to 30 years, you probably don't have a long-term relationship with someone you can rely on. 8, your neighbors probably haven't replaced their roofs since they bought their homes, so they don't know who to trust either. 9, to reduce the likelihood of accidents and damage, roofers should use safety gear, put up tarps around the base of the house, and pick up debris with powerful electromagnets to attract all the loose nails. 10, if roofers are very active, they will cause so much vibration many items in the house will break. Roofers will not pay to replace what is broken in this way. 11, vibration will also cause a lot of dust and dirt to fall into the attic, damaging whatever is there, and roofers will not reimburse you for any such losses. 12, any old roof covers a lot of unseen damage. Until the old roof is removed, you won't know about any structural repairs that are needed. You will pay extra for any such needed repairs. I could add many more problems that can occur while replacing a roof, but I'm sure you get the idea. A new roof can be hazardous to your wallet and your home's interior as well as to your peace of mind. As a consequence of such a valid concern, successful roofers know that you must go to great lengths to make it easier for potential customers to trust them. Roofers may provide hundreds of reference letters from former customers, make it easy for you to check whether any complaints have been filed against them, arrange for insurance companies to certify that they have valid insurance, promise labor guarantees to repair errors that cause leaks, describe elaborate arrangements to reduce accidents and damage, answer endless questions, and ask for payment less aggressively than they would prefer. To help overcome a lack of trust, roofing companies must make many more investments than are actually needed just to provide a fine replacement roof. Here are some examples of excess investments that don't serve much, if any, practical purposes in improving the roof that a customer receives. First, the companies typically employ expensive salespeople to present reasons why you can trust their companies. These salespeople mostly answer questions and provide tangible evidence to make purchasers feel safer. The sales process may require 8 to 10 hours of an expensive person's time. Most roofers then will only win one job in 10 that they quote on. So this approach adds an investment of 80 to 100 hours of effort by salespeople and related sales expenses for each roof they replace. If the total selling cost averages about $30 an hour, the roofer's price has to include $2,400 to $3,000 just to cover the average sales investment. Since the price of replacing most roofs is between $9,000 and $15,000, You can see how significant such investments are. Second, for roofs that aren't very steep or high, the chances of someone being seriously injured are minimal. As a result, the expensive safety insurance and equipment are unnecessary, and such investments have to be made in advance so the company won't attract enough customers. Third, since the people who work on roofs probably won't be able to find a lawyer to handle a lawsuit for them against a homeowner, the fear of a lawsuit is mostly overblown. In fact, you might call it nonsense. For performing a good cleanup and avoiding damage from leftover materials are mostly a function of having a meticulous cleanup crew. They don't need to use all those tarps and electromagnets. Fifth, if your roof is easy to access, the roofers don't need ladders and expensive gear for doing the job. Sixth, you don't care if the company owns any trucks or cars. If the workers arrived by bus, it would all be the same to you. Finally, a company that cares about its reputation is going to do the best possible job or won't be in business next year. Customers who appreciate that point could be offered a small discount for making 100% advance payment, and most such owners would accept the offer. When customers do this, roofing work turns cash flow positive on making a sale. It will be a much more attractive business to be in, attracting better and more talent into the industry. So what could a roofing company do instead of making all of these expensive investments? Well, first, it could invite potential customers to observe work in progress by the crew that would actually do their roof. Was very impressed by the people who did the work. After watching them for an hour, I knew I was going to have a terrific new roof. It would have been faster and more helpful for me to watch them for an hour than by doing the checking that I did. If a roofer had then explained all the ways that it didn't want to make investments to do my job, I would have understood and gone along with their recommendations, especially if there had been some price concessions associated. The lower price would greatly increase their likelihood of getting the job, so the average sales investment would be much less as well. The roofing company knew that trust was important, but didn't go about creating trust in the least expensive way to reduce its investments. That was a strategic mistake. I urge you to rethink how you establish trust with new and existing customers. How might you change what you do so you could reduce investments that aren't going to do you or your customers much, if any, good? This issue of trust carries over into operations that are ongoing. If you trust someone, you can probably reduce your costs and investments of working with them. For example, if a supplier does a great quality job over many months, you don't need to recheck the quality of each and every item that is delivered. As a result, you may not have to own certain kinds of checking equipment, and not have to hire people to use that equipment, and on it goes. Instead, imagine you worked with your supplier or customer the same way you would if they were colleagues in your own organization. What investments could all of you eliminate? How can you build and sustain the trust that's necessary to avoid such investments? So what's the key point about developing stronger and deeper relationships with stakeholders? So redesign your company's business models, methods of operating, use of facilities, ownership of facilities, breadth of product line, and offerings to build trust that allows you to reduce investments by 96 for you and your stakeholders and to create lots of excess cash for one and all. So I have 4 assignments for you. First, identify the 5 most significant investments that you could eliminate if stakeholders could completely trust your organization. Second, consider how you might build the trust needed to eliminate each of such investments. Third, examine how such changes would affect your other stakeholders. And finally, fourth, investigate how your business models, methods of operating, use of facilities, ownership of facilities, breadth of product line, and offerings could be shifted over time to be even more effective and make it easier for stakeholders and your company to identify better ways to operate with very little investment as a result of your trust building activities. So we only have one lesson left. Are you excited? I am. I look forward to sharing it with you next. So in the meantime, may God bless you, your family, and all you do in the name of Jesus. Goodbye for now. Take care.